experience. Over here, we're going to be talking about everything African. We're going to be having debates, discussions, entertainment, as well as learning about business, art, history, and everything in between. Cultural, tribalism, and everything. We're going to be out here debating with some really interesting stuff. So like the video, share the video, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe for the best experience ever. This is the biggest channel on the Afrosphere. So come and join the team, become a Kaizoran, and join the Kaizoran Empire.
Universally exist within myself, within this premise, and I exist within this bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like the blue in the sky. I'ma fly like bird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma throw my bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma soar like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly like bluebird in the sky. I'ma fight like bluebird in the sky. I'ma eat like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be free like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Back again like the second coming. Strumming my vocal cords like the hummingbird in the sky. Y'all can't deny this. Real rap lyrics, it's like I ain't got no rhyming through the sky limit. What is skin tone, shade of color, but a parallel form of frequency like a ringtone on your phone. Melanin expression, tied up in the universe, feeling like God's. Is this really us? Is it serious? Is it really wrong to be diverse? I'm a divergent, immerse myself like an ocean beneath its waves. Be a divergent, born to be different. Indigo child, wild like canary. Born to be a bluebird in the sky, flying high like a bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Everybody scream bluebird in the sky. I'ma fly high, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. Yeah, bluebird in the sky. Everybody, bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bluebird in the sky. I'ma be like bone black, sweet like a berry. Flying high like a canary. Scary with my hoodie on. Hating on my vibe on the street that you'll be feeling my frequency of the song. But I know that I ain't never ever gonna be ever the same. But I know.
Shalom, shalom. I was muted for a second. Make sure you guys come in and like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to Chuku over there. Bluebirds, salute to you. FH says, is Africa safe for single black men? Well, let's go ahead and let's get into the topic. Now, recently, there have been people wondering if Africa is safe for black women, specifically in Gambia and things like that, Ghana. People are being deleted. So what's really going on?
It's a really unfortunate time when things happen here on the continent of Africa that make their way to other parts of the world, encouraging fear, encouraging hesitation, encouraging doubt. It's a problem. And while I value life, I value the lives of Black women, Black men, and Black children. I value the lives of humans. No one ever deserves to be brutally hurt.
I mean, yeah, no one deserves anything. That's not really the conversation. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's see if this woman will give a good, accurate representation, or will her Pan-Africanism get in between the truth. And that's why I'm here. I tell it as it is. I can tell you something isn't as great as you think, and I can still tell you to come because there's other good things to value. I think she will tell you Africa is safe for single Black women. I'll tell you straight from the beginning of this video, no, it's not. Unless you yourself are African, because if you have a family, you have uncles, you have brothers, you have a whole community and tribe behind you, then you will be safe. But if you're coming over here Actually, she looks like a Kenyan Arab, but if she if you're coming over here to Africa as a woman from a different culture, you don't have any protection, then no, it's not safe. Let's be straightforward.
Value in it, please be sure to like this video and share it with someone else who would also find value in it. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging me in the comments about this. However, the way that I was engaged in the comments about this, I felt was through a lens of fear. And so I want to give a backstory of myself. I know we are growing as a community, and many people, when they come onto videos, don't necessarily know the journey. And so in this video, I'm going to share a bit of my journey. I was born in the city of Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I really don't care about that life history. Let me see if I can.
But it taught me very early on to adjust and to act here as a tourist. I'm here to establish myself personally, professionally, and I'm here to integrate and find a home. This is where I want to live. This is where I want to be. So I am not spending time out in the streets all the time. Do I go out? Absolutely. Do I enjoy myself? Absolutely. And
Okay, so she's saying she's not really on the street like she would be in America. Which is, I think, it's a good point to make. If you're a single woman, you don't have a protection of a man in a foreign country. Forget whether it's Africa or any country in Africa, right? You shouldn't be doing weird things. Stay safe. Make a few friends or acquaintances that you trust in a certain direction. So yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, I think this is the only way that you should be, right? So yeah, so far her behavior is not bad. Shout out to you, Arubo, as well.
Absolutely can do that, but I will say that I experienced, close friends, relatives even, that spent a lot of time living as a tourist, saying that they had an intention to settle, but their safety was put at risk when you're out and about and when you're exposed. We already stand out. We already, with our voice, with our accent, are immediately available.
And with your light skin, man, you look like you came out straight from antebellum South, where Dwight, man, definitely put his DNA, and it's showing through, right? So yeah, and also you look a bit different, again, depending on the country that you go in. But yeah, language, accent, dress style, culture, the way you walk, the swag, all of that will set you apart. So if you're a single Black American woman, I don't think you should be moving around foreign countries, especially third world foreign countries, without the protection of a man. This is where patriarchy comes into effect. You need a protection, right? That basically is it. If you have a man around you, for example, people won't keep talking to you, right? When I'm walking around with my girl, no one comes up to her, right, to bother her or anything. But when you're by yourself, trust me, you will get attention. You like some of it, and you definitely won't most of it. So if that's the case, why are you traveling alone? I just don't recommend it.
Available, or immediately we attract a level of attention, right? And so do what you want. You're grown, right? But for me, I am not a person that is checking for the weekend, every weekend, or a day party or a weekday party. Do I have my times where I like to turn up? Absolutely, I do. But being out and about all the time, especially in your first year of trying to migrate to a country, it is so important to just chill, okay? Like chill, find your space, find your center, remember, return to self, because the reality.
Yeah, so she was making good points until she starts making some spiritual stuff about returning to self and stuff. Yeah, if you're in a new country, take your time, man. Like a woman, I guess. Go figure out how things work, the economy, the currency exchange. Start playing around in your mind, so now you're comfortable. Figure out the spots that you like, which places have the best bomb, the food that bangs, right? Go there. Go figure out the kind of comforts that you like as well, right? In terms of beddings. I'm being serious. Go and explore this. I thought she was gonna go there. She started talking about spirituality, so I ignored it. But she isn't wrong. Go and figure out how something works. Chukwu says Africa is not the place to be a strong and independent black woman. Family and tribal connections will keep you safe. Exactly, 100%.
The reality is that we're coming from a lot in the West. Some of us are essentially escaping the toxic environments, the toxic relationships, the toxic society. And for many of us, we're not doing that. But for me, in my case, I made a intentional, conscious decision that the environment that I had been in, as I'm sharing, right, my professional environments, my relationships, they were not in alignment with the values and the level of lifestyle that I had desired and wanted to pursue. And so when you arrive, mind your space. Find your space, right? Find your home. Find a place that feels comfortable, that isn't too drastic from the lifestyle that you've lived before, and mind that space. Settle in that.
Yeah, again, guys, remember this is advice for women. So of course, a man might want to go explore more, but she's not making bad arguments, right now, that she's saying. I agree with everything that she's saying. Africa can be safe if you let go of your old traumatized mentality that a woman needs to be strong and independent. You do need a man, or rather, you need men in your life in general, right? You need tribal protection, right? You need to go out there, find some kind of connections, and then be understanding that you have to comply to some of the roles that that sort of tribe or friendship group that you joined seems to carry. FA says it depends which country or area in the continent. Africa is not country, and that she should learn first of all. Yes, yes, FH, right? Africa is not country. Yeah.
I don't want to say isolation, right? But there is a level of isolation that is required. You're now in a new environment, in a new country. There's a lot of adjustment that needs to happen. You need to hear from God in those times, whether it's God, whether it's spirit, the universe, ancestors, or a combination of all of the above. You need to have the time to hear. And so I also am aware of, the ease of being able to do the Airbnb lifestyle. And I did that. And I absolutely recommend that to people that I work with, is to book yourself an Airbnb for at least 30 days or a hotel for 30 days so that you can mind your space, so you can return and remember. And then from there, get out, hustle, and find where you're supposed to be. That is more important than everything and anything else, in my opinion, as a single woman who also has children. It was important for me to find a space and a home that I could settle myself and settle my children so that we had a level of stability and just like grounding, right? And so that's really, really important, especially as a single woman. Now, the next thing is to create community, right? So after you come out of
Yep. Now she's making a good point again. You gotta create community. As I said before, this is Africa. This is not the West. This is somewhere where people still value connections, and they still value culture, tribe, and roles and rules. Right. This is not some Wild West. So yeah, she's making a good point. You do need a community. All right. If you're a single black woman, you've gone to a different country that's not America, you definitely need to go out there and humble yourself and create that community around you, right? And again, if you're part of a community, you definitely need to adhere to some of the rules in that community, right? You can't just go around throwing your weight. You have to speak to these men respectfully. You can't be out here emasculating men either, who are going to be the ones to protect you. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that. So if but someone's listening and that doesn't suit them, or rather doesn't apply to them, just ignore that point, right? But I'm just speaking generally here.
that, make sure that you create community, that you find community that you can trust, and that may take some time, right? It may take some time, but I have learned that on this journey, I've been extremely open. I've been extremely vulnerable. Even with this YouTube channel, right? I am extremely open and vulnerable. And that's a whole nother part that I'm going to get into, which is literally the last thing that I'll talk about, the second to last thing. So stay tuned. And if this is valuable, please like this video. But yeah, create a community so that they can tap into you. A lot of the African countries, right, or anywhere that you go, there are expat communities. I am not the first that has made this move, and I won't be the last. And there are people that have forged the way. They may not be on YouTube, but there are communities on Facebook. You can get in WhatsApp communities. You can go to expat events, but check in with some people that can check in with you. And that's really, really important. And I've done that.
Okay, so she talks about expat events. I think that's a good thing to do, right? Find people that have also going through the same journey as you, right? Again, if you're a woman, if you're a man, I'll give a different advice. Find events with other expats, right? People from your country, your region, your tribe, whatever it is, making a life in this new country that you've chosen. If you've gone to South Africa, perhaps find women from your same, I don't know, America or town or ethnicity, whatever it is in South Africa. Meet up with them, share your experiences, and then actually try to make it business worthy. Don't just make it about, oh, go girl. Oh my God, I just had like the best mojito. No. Don't just make it all about that, right? Oh, go girl, we're living our best life. Oh my God. No, that's fine, but make sure you have the business talk, right? How do you get around converting the currency? How do you make sure that you don't get overcharged with your accent? How do you make sure that at night or whenever it is, no one starts touching you or, coming up to you in a disrespectful way, right? You got to be sharing details on how to survive with each other, right? So yes, go to expat events and find your relevant demographic. If you're a Black woman, perhaps go to one of those, and perhaps just go to a general one. You never know what might be useful for you. Oh yeah, and also kind of understand that in Africa, because of the lack of dollar as their currency, they are going to have less money than you are for the most part, unless you find the upper class ones, and those ones are probably not going to be checking for you unless you're special. So yes, just be accepting that you might have more cash flow than the guys you're going to date, because that is a factor in this. Who are you going to date? Are you going to find someone to share life with that meets your standards, right? These are all very relevant questions, right? You can't just assume that you'll find the best man. No, because Africa has an economic problem compared to the West. So you need to be okay with all these things. Don't make assumptions, right? Don't make assumptions that you'll just find some great rich guy, etc. No, a rich guy is not going to be checking for you, first of all, for the most part, right? If you're already a passport sis, perhaps you're not the prettiest girl. I don't know, but I'm just saying, don't make assumptions that somehow rich men will find you. Chuku says there are criminals and crazy people in every country. You can't depend on police in Africa. That's true. Police act more as a mercenary force in Africa. It's not really based on what's right or what's wrong. It's based on the highest bidder, the way you can get in the West. It's a mistake to think that you can move in Africa the same way. I agree 100%. And some countries are even worse. So generally speaking, have protection. Be traveling with someone. Again, that's a risk too, but it's way less risky than thinking you're a single, independent, strong Black woman. Mrs. H says, too many disease risk because most Black men are promiscuous and don't get tested. Well, I don't know about that. I think Africans just have some HIV from when, perhaps from South Africa, when they were testing some stuff. I don't want to talk about that. Also, African families will help the man scam the foreign Black woman. Some of them would, yes. Some would actually help them perhaps get a passport. You never know, right? What some people are planning against you. FH says, stay on your lane as a woman. Do not bring feminism ideology down, because that's why you are still a single woman. Yes, that's a great point, FH.
Not here in South Africa. I did that in Tanzania. It was a little hectic, and that's another video, but I did that as a single woman, creating community with other women and families and couples, right, that can check in on you. And this is really the thing, as I talk about being open and vulnerable, this is a very feminine energy that you see today, right? I am in my divine feminine energy. And also, I recognize the importance of the masculine energy that I still operate in as well, as a person that has come here for business opportunities, economic opportunities, that is a provider for my family. I am those things. And so that is a part of masculine energy as well, but also very feminine. And that openness, that vulnerability, has allowed me to.
Sis, you're a single woman. Sorry, not single woman, you're a single mother. I don't think you got feminine energy, right? You're out here talking about spiritual healing and crystals and all this stuff, but no, you're not emanating feminine energy. Feminine energy is actually just knowing where your lane is, right? And allowing a man to take control and not be out there micromanaging. I can see a micromanaging spirit from her, right? Again, this is not me making a psychological whatever. I'm just saying what I might be seeing.
Become the healer, the feeler, and the teacher that I'm becoming and that I am, in, and to shed some of that energy that I brought with me from the US. As Black women in America, especially as single women, we have had to be in our masculine energy, our doer energy. The way we speak, the way we talk to people, the way I used to talk to people, the way I used to talk to men, the way I used to talk to my children, the way I used to talk to myself. Now, when I think back about it, I cringe, because I would never talk to my man that way. I would never talk to my children that way. I would never talk to my friends that I care and love that way. But that was something that I had to shed once getting here. And so, I am giving and sharing peace and love and the highest vibration of joy with the people that have passed on and have gone into the ancestral realm, their families, offering and extending.
Sis, she says, you talking like this, putting your hand in your heart, or rather sternum, and talking about peace, love, and joy. Bro, listen. If you can't make a man want to actually spend his life with you, that's the issue, right? It's not what you're saying now, talking about spirits, right? There's two types of people. People who talk about spirits and love, and they talk about it, and people that live it, right? Clearly, sis, you're not living it. You're living in your masculine flow, and you don't want to accept it, right? And that's why things are the way that they are. It's simple as that. 100%, Zulia, right? You got to go and fix your own self in the environment that you're in, then maybe look for a new environment to try to thrive in. If you can't even do that, what makes you think somehow you're going to be like Superwoman in the new environment? No, you'll just carry on all the same sort of bad habits from one place to the next. If they can't do elementary school math, why are they trying to do a degree in physics from MIT? Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly, Mrs. H. She's a lot of new age ideology energy. Again, she just talks about it though, Mrs. H. I would even be okay with her if she embodied it, but she doesn't. People that have to mention things aren't actually embodying it, right? You're not seeing it. I don't trust anyone who talks about ancestors. This is what they're trying to do culturally: fix the African American community or assimilate to another culture and submit fully to it. FH says, feminism of today is against family fundamentals. 100%, 100%. But anyways, this woman's getting boring, and this video is not really helpful. So let's move on to the next video, how an Ethiopian woman from, I believe, Germany, right? Or Europe at least, how she got her Kenyan residency. I think that is far more relevant to everyone, and they can definitely get some useful insights there, right? The process of how this other woman got her residency. So yeah, let's go ahead and share that video. Finally.
Entering Kenya as a Kenyan resident, and let me tell you something, fam. The feeling.
Now, this woman, to me, she looks feminine. She sounds feminine. Her energy here, if you take it from her, she she's just nice, she's competent, she's smart, she's intelligent, but I don't see any of that evil spirit from like the other Black American woman, right? This one just looks like a woman, right? Just a normal, nice woman who is feminine. She's not gonna start talking about spirits and energies and crystals and walking in the no. She's just herself.
Of queuing up in the line for Kenyan residents as opposed to queuing up in the line for visitors felt like the biggest flex in my life. I was so happy. I was so proud. I felt like I win the lottery. No, for real. I love to call myself a Kenyan resident. I love this country. I love the people. So yeah, I wish everyone else in the diaspora to have this feeling of coming home. It's so beautiful. And be back to Africa. My name is Wayne. If you're new to this channel, thanks for joining. In today's video, I want to share with you how I finally got my Kenyan residency, of which I'm ultimately proud of. Many of you have reached out to me after my video about living in Nairobi versus living in Addis Ababa and asked me, Wayne, how were you able to acquire Kenyan residency? So here we are, and I will explain the entire process, how much time it took me, how much money I spent. So make sure you stick to the end and let's dive straight into it. Now, if you want to reside and work in Kenya, you obviously need a permit to do so, like for any other country too. And there are different ways of acquiring Kenyan residency. One, for instance, is through marriage.
Yep. So again, if passport bros were not simply passport hoes, you'll be seeing far more of them getting married and settling down. The problem is most passport bros are really passport hoes, right? Men looking for cheap poontang, and I can't really be part of that movement, right? Because it lacks a lot of it's not my style, right? I prefer passport bros, not passport hoes. But majority of them are passport hoes. If you want a Kenyan citizenship, marriage is one way, right? You get married to a Kenyan after a couple of years. I mean, that's why KBM, the Mzungu, he's a Kenyan by marriage, right? Because he married a Kenyan.
However, I am going to focus on the residency acquired through work or investment. Depending on the type of work you plan to do or the sector you want to invest in Kenya, there are different classes of permits. And so let me just give you a brief overview of the relevant classes of permits. The Class A visa, for instance, is given to individuals who come to Kenya for prospecting or mining. And to do so, you need to have a license to mine.
Yeah, you're not gonna come to Kenya for prospecting, mining licenses. This is very rare. You're gonna need to be very specialized already. You're gonna have to have certain advantages in your portfolio. Most African Americans don't have these skills, so you will not be getting a visa as a mining prospector in Kenya, right? No, most of you ain't. So let's leave that.
In Kenya, and you need to prove a capital investment of minimum 100,000 US dollars. Then there is the Class B visa, which is given to individuals who want to work in the field of agriculture or animal husbandry. And to qualify for this visa, you also need to prove that you have the necessary capital to afford or buy a land in Kenya. If you need a standard employment visa, then the Class D visa is probably the best option for you, and it is also the most common visa. With this visa, you are entitled to work for any company or even for the Kenyan government. Next in line, we have the specific trade, business and consultancy visa, also known as the Class G visa. The Class G visa is given to individuals who want to work and invest into any field of the Kenyan economy.
Again, you niggas is not gonna be able to to use any of that, right? I know none of everyone talk about I'm gonna start a business in Africa. Africa is a land of opportunities. No, you're not gonna start a business in Africa, because if you really want it to be legal and you're not doing it through your wife, no, there's ways you could do it, right? Let me be realistic here, not be an idiot. If you want to start a business in Africa, I suggest you do this. You come, you find a wife, you marry her, or find a husband, you marry him. The business will be registered in your husband or wife's name, right? And then the assets, right? The property value, you can put it in your children's names. That way you protect yourself against even your wife, right? So if your son or daughter gets the property, right? Your wife can't just sell it because it belongs to your children. That way, you can then open up any business you want through your wife or husband. That's it. You ain't need $100,000 to come in, and you niggas ain't got that money, but you definitely can afford the plane ticket to get married and basically use a marriage visa until you get standardized. That's the easiest and best way that you can do it. Come there, find a spouse. That's it.
However, to qualify for the Class G visa, you need to prove a minimum capital of 100,000 US dollars on your bank account. Last but not least, there is also the Class I visa, which is given to individuals who enter Kenya for charitable or religious purposes. And here also, to qualify for this visa, you have to prove that your activities will be beneficial for the country. So these are the relevant classes of permit.
So now you see how the Wazungus are able to open schools and all these foundations with no money and everything because they come in as a charitable foundation, right? They come in as some kind of religious sect or something similar, and that's how they open up all these companies and NGOs, which all things connected to the church and stuff like that, right? That's how they able to move around, right? I'm just saying that some people out there, Dwight man, he's figured out how to, scam his way around African countries. Shout out to Niani Mansa. Greetings to everyone from the Prince of Manding Empire, aka Mali Empire. Al Ning Tuma Salam. Salam alaikum.
Permits that you can apply for if you want to work and live in Kenya. So in my case, there was actually only one class of permit which was of high interest, which is the Class G investors visa.
So it looks like African women be doing good in Europe. So she had at least $100,000 in her bank. Now notice, right? Class G is good because you don't actually have to give it to anyone. You just have to prove that you have the money in your bank and that at some point you will use that money to invest in Kenya, right? So she came in and she had all that money. And again, if you really want to do business in Africa, like, do you think Nigerians? Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think Nigerians come to Kenya with Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D visa? No, Nigerians come here with a student visa. Nigerians come to Kenya with a tourist visa and they be working at home online, right? They'll be making money regardless. At the end of the day, look, I'm not giving anyone advice, right? This is not advice. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. That's all. I'm not giving anyone no advice. I'm just saying that people do things and people do things the way that they do things. That's all I'm going to say.
Because foreign nationals like me who want to run and own a company in Kenya are required to have an investor's Class G visa from the